Clubs and grassroots music venues are shutting their doors up and down the country. Places once full of vibrancy and life, now left as hollow shells of their former self. These venues play an incredibly important role in our society, and it is something we must protect. I spoke with Gudrun Getz of the now closed Passing Clouds Club about why she believes clubs are so important.
For one thing, it forms a huge part of the UK economy, but one thing that for me personally is far more important than that is about music and human connection. People need to go to spaces where they can be with each other, where they can hear music, where they can, let go of their cares and just kind of experience a night where they're kind of lifted out of themselves and they can just kind of transcend their day-to-day woes. But the more grassroots places that are for people of colour, or people of different gender identities or sexual orientations, or people that don't have very much money, we always had a policy of making sure that people could access our space for free. And, anybody who's in a slightly more vulnerable place in society is having increasingly few places to go to. As well, what we did at Passing Clouds was really bring people together through that shared connection of music, and I think that's vitally important to the very soul of Britain, to humanity. We need those things. It's worth more than money.
For some, they might question the importance of clubs and music venues to our society. But in order to understand how vital they are, we can look at the economic contributions made. In London alone, 2,260 jobs are supported by grassroots music venues, with 50.8 million in labour income and 91.8 million contributed in GVA for London's economy. It also benefits local businesses. For every £10 spent on tickets in London, £17 is spent nearby on food, drink or transport. 44.6 million is generated in tax revenue, 5.7 million from VAT on ticket sales, and a further 14.1 million from VAT on beverage and food sales. The report also states that these musicians and venues helped create a sense of community, belonging, inclusion, and social cohesion. So what is it about club culture that people enjoy so much?
My sort of happiness and vibrancy towards life is directly linked with how involved I can be in the club life. For me, it made me a much more social person and I didn't have to get over my anxiety and things like that because I had some direction and I was doing something.
It's so much more than just, I want to go get fucked up on a Friday. I don't know. People belittle it. People just say, it's just hedonistic and it's just nothing. People just want to go and get drunk. It's not. Because if it was, people wouldn't be that into it.
I also spoke with some partygoers about what club culture means to them.
It's a way of transcending whatever goes on in my life in a way that you can't do like at a pub or anywhere else really.
I think everyone's in the same kind of mindset that they're not really too fussed about who they're with or what's going on. Everyone's just kind of there to enjoy themselves.
It's every bit a part of who we are as a country and what the country is.
It's a release for me. It's got me back to me. I'm not just concentrating on my work and my children anymore. I found that part of myself that was missing and the things that I love, and I feel like more of a complete person now that I'm back out partying. It's not every weekend, but it's a lot of them.
If it is so popular, then why are these clubs shutting their doors?
I think a lot of the clubs in the UK have shut down for various reasons, money being one, rent prices being the other.
Development, endless development, which has led to the closure of, Passing Clouds, etc. But millions of other ones. Other clubs are going down all the time and not getting any fanfare at all. And other ones are actually failing to be started.
Chris Tofu and his team have been running Continental Drifts for 20 years, having won Best Event Production Company, and they've been programming events and stages at festivals such as Glastonbury, Boomtown and Festival, as well as running multiple club nights nationwide. And his years of experience in the scene make him an expert on club culture, so I caught up with him to hear his thoughts.
You cannot, right now, as a person, even if you've got a business or anything like that, without 5 or 6 million quid in your pocket, open a club in East London. So what happens is the only people who can do it are conglomerates. He who pays the piper plays the tune as well, and those guys are like, what? Voodoo Gypsy Funk? Never heard of it. Do you know what I mean? They're like Psychedelic blues remix? Are you joking?
Chris believes it comes down to an issue of regeneration. This regeneration aims to be a positive thing, but not when it comes at the cost of culture and arts.
The speed of this regeneration in London is the fastest in the world. It's the fastest from street with nothing in it to really fucking trendy buildings all up and down the whole road. There's a kind of like anthropological thing that happens, which is that this street we're in right now used to have squats in it. This gaff over here used to be squatted. And it used to be like hardly anyone down here, right? And then a whole load of arty squatter types moved and a load of artist types moved in. And then hot on the heels of all the artists were the property developers. And then loads of people moved in who started picking up the phone and complaining like crazy about the arts and noise that was in their area that they'd moved into because it was an artistic area. And this has had a massive effect.
Furthermore, rent prices for clubs are increasing, which means that they have to bump up their prices, which ultimately means that clubs become more unaffordable for the average club goer.
Young people are skint. Young people are more likely to go to the off-licence, get pissed, and then go down to the local area where they're more and more having to live more and more out of town in dodgy fucking places, then come all the way into town to experience downtown.
They'd rather spend it at festivals, they'd rather have a house party. Drinks prices are ridiculous. And we say go to a party, people go, oh, a house party. And you're like, no, a club. Oh, a club. Oh, so I've got to have lots of money.
Another reason that some clubs have closed their doors is drug use within the scene.
The attitude towards drugs is, for me, I think is one of the problems towards the scene, because the people that don't know about it, maybe the people in the councils or things like that, they see the drugs first and then they think about the music after, when in reality the music came first and the drugs were then brought in. It was always about the nightlife. It was always about the dancing, about the socialising, and about the having fun, about the people who made the music and the people that are playing the music.
Drugs. Yeah, lack of drug education. Because I know when I was at school, the extent of drug education was drugs are bad, don't take them. You shouldn't take something you don't know what it is. Like, I think drug regulation is very important, because then things can be more regulated, so you'd never get like MDMA that's actually PMA or something like that. It needs to be, you just need to know what you're taking, and you need to be responsible, and you can't have that unless there's education.
The government's response to drug use in clubs has been ineffective in curbing use, and by closing clubs, the parties aren't going to stop.
The clubs are not going to go, it's not going to disappear, it's just going to have to move and reformat in order to survive, the same way it did in the early days with forest raves and squat parties and things, which you don't want to be there. You don't want that to be your club scene, because it's not regulated and it's not safe for you. If you know that one person that is going to get super messy is a lot safer in a club with first aid and security than at a squat rave.
By shutting venues down, you're only going to get the proliferation of more free parties again. So I feel like there should be so much more focus on trying to find solutions, long-term solutions, as opposed to like immediate solutions, just bang, 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 shut down all these clubs.
It's going full rotation then. And it's going back to the free party movement. It's going back to, you know, like people on the Nokias with a long row of cars, like meeting at a car park, waiting for a text message, and then going down to some field. Because that stuff happened, stopped, and is now happening again.
You're not going to stop partying because that's part of your life. That's part of, I don't know, that's just part of your culture and your friends. So you're just going to go elsewhere to do it.
We're the customer. That's the thing you've got to remember. We're the customer, and we can say where we want to party, how we want to party, and it's up to young people to not, you know, say what they want to do, and they're doing that through these scenes, saying, do you know what, I'm not going to pay this money. I'm not going to pay for, you know, 250 quid to go to certain festivals or spend £1,000 in a nightclub. I'm going to go get my friends, get a sound system, and do it over there, and you can come if you want, because that's where it started.
And the sales have to go somewhere. They go back into like the wider community in the state. But if you've got an illegal rave, that just goes straight in the pockets. So surely, from literally an economic point of view for council, it's actually better for them to have a venue.
But what can be done to protect our nightlife culture?
People can make sure that if a venue's closing down in their local area, that they get involved with the committee to try and save it, because when that venue's gone, I can assure you it's minutes down the road until that whole area is completely dead.
Go to live music venues, you know, that place around the corner that you always meant to go to. You might not actually get to go there before it gets closed down.
Remember that you represent the scene when you're out at it, and that you want people to see that it's actually a cathartic social experience.
Yeah, don't be afraid to get involved and say something.
Stick up for it, really.
That's it. If it
Like,
means so much to you, then
stick
take
up
pride
for
in it. It ain't just your Friday night. Like, that's your culture. That's what you're about.
Realise what we have and what we could lose.
You can also, if you do have a music venue in your area that's under threat, you can gather a group of people together to nominate it to be an asset of community value, and anybody can do that. They don't have to be from the venue itself, because it is something that can potentially protect them before they get closed down. Sadly, we didn't get ours in time before our eviction, but if we had, we might still be in there right now.
Well, UK club culture is based on music, right? And whatever's going to happen, the music is going to happen.
In order to save our club culture, we need to be proactive and show people how meaningful and vital it is to people and our society. Perhaps then, those past clouds might just come back around.